Corey Burton. I'm an old-fashioned voice man, voice actor, dubbing professional, sound obsessive engineer, and all-around goofy voices guy. And you are listening to Movie Raid, or the Movie Raid Show, patent pending.
It's time for the Movie Raid, and tonight's victim is voice actor Corey Burton, who's played in the 80s Transformers film, who's played in Critters, and many others. Hello.
Hello there. Yes, I've been around forever, and and worked on many a very famous project, and some that disappear into the ether, but emerge years later.
So what's going on right now?
Oh, let's see. I am working on
the ones that you're able to talk about.
More seasons of Jake and the Neverland Pirates. That's Disney Channel, Disney Junior, I guess, for preschoolers, which was interesting. We adapted the Captain Hook character, which I've been doing forever also, for a preschool audience, and finally got it to a stage where Captain Hook and Mr. Smee are sort of like an old vaudeville team, and so they're very funny. Lots of shtick back and forth. Hopefully maintaining the soul of those two characters. Some really funny slapstick back and forth between the two.
When voice acting a character, do you put your personal emotions into this character, or do you find a way how this character reacts to a moment?
Well, it's as I always say, the character is not me at all. Of course, it is born in the mind's ear of the writer as a character voice, translated by a good voice director who inputs all of this information, and if the character is on the page, sometimes it just leaps right off and practically performs itself. That is, if the phrasing and choice of words are all congruent, all fit a complete personality. But other times it's a mechanical process of sort of setting, okay, this is the basic pitch of the character, this is the vocal placement, the age range, the speed of delivery, get all those parameters set and try to track what the director is expecting to hear. And hopefully if what I do concurs with what's in the director's head, and that's what the writer conceived, it's a buy. Otherwise, we come back and redo it.
Yeah. I mean, it could be difficult as far as character goes. So there's characters out there in cartoons that are just a little bit cliched and kind of like uninteresting. It's hard to find that one character that stands out.
Yeah. Well, I was taught by my mentor, who was the great Doss Butler, the voice of Yogi Bear, Huckleberry Hound, Mr. Jinx, Captain Crunch, and on and on and on. And he taught us how to be real, old-fashioned radio actors. He had a thing really disliking what he would call cosmetic or pedestrian interpretation of lines. Similar to what Christopher Walken thinks about acting. You know, you make it normal speech as the character would speak, and you ignore periods and commas, and you may want to emphasize a certain word to paint the image in one's mind, or for the animator to take advantage of and give it something special for the screen. There's a lot of calculation, but ideally, once you've got the character set and you're rolling with it, and especially in a dialogue situation, you lose yourself in the character. You forget who you are. You don't pay attention to what you sound like. It's all about letting the character inhabit your mentality, your body, your voice box, and so the character performs it. And a lot of times I don't even know what I've done until I hear it back, because I'm not listening to myself. That's a big mistake, in fact. Younger voice actors, not always younger, but a lot of voice actors believe if they put on headphones, they'll be able to hear what they're doing better. That just takes you out of the character, as far as I'm concerned.
It's more of a distraction when you do that. It's like, oh, because you're stopping yourself as you hear yourself.
Yeah, and especially for an old production engineer like I am, I'm suddenly realizing, oh, that's a little sibilant, and oh, yeah, that texture isn't quite what I intended, and I'll be making all these adjustments, and forget to play the character. I'm just mechanically producing sounds that are prescribed, and that creates a stiff and uninteresting performance.
You feel the industry, as far as voice acting goes, you think it's more of a marketable stance, or do you think it's more of a job starting-wise, like career-wise?
Oh, you mean for celebrity or known on-camera people doing voice acting performances?
Something like that. It's like in the industry, it's like as far as selling point, like you got your reality shows. Okay, they sell.
Mm-hmm.
But something like voice acting as a profession, do you think this could be something more of a selling point? Or do you think, okay, no, it's just voice actor. It's like commercials. Okay, cool. You hear it and you hear it once, and then okay, that's it.
Most people these days, we're so visually oriented that people don't realize the importance of the voice of the character. It's all about the visual imagery. We tend not to be the most respected of performers. It just depends on the director or the writer or producer if they appreciate what can be done without facial expression, without facial and physical emotion, that it can all be in the voice. It's radio acting, and my goal is always to make it a great radio drama or comedy that will play out in the listener's head as something real, and people will see, feel, touch, taste everything in the scene and visualize the characters as real beings. And it tends to stick with you more than something that's visually focused.
Yeah.
Because you have participated in the creation of that character in your head, and it can be more real than something you have seen.
You have to tell a story. That's what it goes down to, not just a lot of shenanigans. Like you see in cartoons, like cartoon movies, you'll see a bunch of hitting, and of course there's some gross things happening too, like it happens in a lot of cartoons, but you also got to tell a story.
Oh, it's all about story. That's the Walt Disney idea. I also, just side note, I portray the voice of Walt Disney. I'm not able to imitate Walt Disney, but having grown up idolizing him and sort of aspiring to keep his standards and dreams alive and continuing on into the generations, I think I have a good feel for what Walt was like. And as a radio actor, I hopefully do a good job of representing what it would feel like to be in conversation with Walt Disney.
Do you feel voice acting is still to be recognized as an art form in the industry?
Yes. I mean, yes and no. It is, but it is so tied with celebrity. That can be good voice acting if the celebrity has a good ear and a natural talent, a natural ability to express character and emotion with just their voice.
Yeah, the whole parade scenario. It's like, okay, you see all these recognizable celebrity artists, which is great. This is awesome they do this. But at the same time, you're kind of taking it away from where you got full-blown all these celebrities that's doing all these characters. But what about the ones that's been doing other films past them that is recognized but hasn't actually been noticed yet? Yeah.
Recognition is nice, but to me, it's all about the character. Again, Doss Butler taught us that the character is the star, and we are the people behind the curtain in service of that character, with hopefully with well-learned craft of voice acting. there's also a bit too much made of the supposed ease of performance. You know, oh, you don't have to put on makeup and costumes and such. But it's real acting. If it's any good, it is the basis of acting for the most part, unless you're a pantomime actor. But you can feel and hear everything through the voice of the character. You don't need to see it necessarily.
Yeah, it could be hard in some ways. It can be distracting in other ways as well. Even though you can't physically see in real life, on screen, in an actual film, on cartoon-wise, some may kind of overlook the character rather than just feel, hear, see, and react to the moment of this character.
But I've never had any desire personally to be a celebrity. I'm not good in crowds. I don't really have the type of personality or style of speech to particularly interesting or attractive to an audience. But the characters can be fantastic, and I want the characters to be known more than myself. I mean, I consider myself on the same level as the animators. We all work to create this illusion of a real character who we know. And as I often say, we know the characters we see and hear through television and film and radio and audio. We know them as real people just as much as any other real human being who we've never actually met in person. So the characters are real. They exist. They exist in our minds as real entities. I want to be good at it. I want the character to be memorable and entertaining and help to bring the story to life.
Has anyone ever gone to you for help as far as developing voice acting characters or anything related?
I've been consulted every now and then. Never really officially. I mean, I have worked with some inexperienced voice actors to get them comfortable with a role, give them a few tips and tricks I've learned along the way, and just get them out of the worry over how every word is sounding and how they're doing their job, and just let it happen. They know the character is within them. Just forget about everything and let the character come out of you. And that's sometimes the most difficult thing. Sometimes takes years. I was 4.5 years in radio acting workshop before it finally clicked with me. Otherwise, I was doing things mechanically, and which can sound good, but it's so much effort, and there's always a certain stiffness to it because you're very conscientious of every microsecond of performance as opposed to just glancing at the line and everything else just disappears and the character delivers the line, you know. And I sit back and almost watch myself from above and listen to the playback. Oh, that worked. Oh, Captain Hook sounded right, or he was funny, or whatever. As opposed to I did this. I'm not in it for the personal recognition and applause. It's a gig. It's again, Dawes Butler was saying we are like jazz musicians, and it's the music, the song, the performance that transports people, not me as an individual that is pulling the audience's attention in. It's craft, but yeah, I guess there is art involved in it. Although it does sound a little conceited when we say we're voice artists. But well, I suppose that's what it is. It's a unique art form. It's a niche business.
You think cartoon is more of a second rate compared to computer animation?
Oh, you know, anything of quality is anything that transports the audience, tells a good story, and sticks with people, teaches life lessons. It's all just as valid. It doesn't necessarily have to be a big screen epic production. If it's good, it's good. If it works, it works, and if not, forgettable and possibly embarrassing.
Yeah. Now, you helped develop the language for the film Critters, the first film. Would you ever consider possibly doing the same thing with other existing franchises, even Transformers or anything else related?
If that's what the assignment is, you know, I just, you know, sort of a short order cook of character voices sometimes, where they'll just say, we need it to sound like this and this and this, and can you just make up something that sounds like a language? Did one recently, some kind of gibberish language for a Disney project. But Critters was unique in that it was just wide open for creative input, and of course meant to be funny and a little creepy as well. And at first I had no idea. I've never been a master of classic vaudeville double talk, but I just went with instincts. I borrowed from Japanese as far as the rhythms go, because there was a certain Japanese quality to the basic storytelling in that film. So the Japanese is very very modular, very choppy. You know, in little bits and pieces that would work well with the random mouth flaps that you would see on screen. And but then I wanted something a little guttural, and I was thinking French is good. And when it's about them wanting to devour something, to bite or eat. And the French word for eating is manger, to eat, mange. So I just took off the M and tried to make it a little alien sounding, and I just said ange. So it's ange. The director said, he kept saying, yeah, say, what do you say, orange? Ange. There were a few other silly thoughts that occurred to me to incorporate into the babble of the Critters. But mostly it's playing it because it was done to picture, playing it as you do most post-production dialogue. You follow what's on screen, and you kind of you try to hear the voice coming from what you are seeing on screen. Again, lose personal focus and consciousness. I guess like a puppeteer, project the personality and the voice into figure on screen, tracking their movements and if there is any facial expression. That's the secret of good dubbing, good ADR and looping, is not to watch the lips, but to watch the body and facial expressions, and especially synchronize the breathing. That seals the illusion. Lip sync, perfect lip sync, actually doesn't look right. It looks artificial.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I've learned over the years. So much experience. I mean, probably the biggest dubbing ADR job I did was Total Recall, the original film. That was shot in Mexico, and myself and a lot of other expert dubbers or loopers were called in to replace all of the supporting character dialogue, incidental character dialogue. And of course there were 10,000 deaths and and physical impacts to cover, and you want each of them to have a certain distinctive ring to them and not just keep doing the same there on each cue. I remember the dubbing director at one point in the fifth day after a take, we were all doing pretty much the same noises. He says, "Can't you people think of any ways to die more creatively?" And we did. And of course, we sometimes do some just to amuse ourselves, like Three Stooges noises, whatever. But, that never makes it to the finished film, hopefully. Yeah.
Well, go ahead and plug in anything that you'd like to plug in, you're currently doing, like any websites, or any advice that you'd like to give to those that are breaking into voice acting.
Oh, well, the prime directive in voice acting as a career is you must love it more than anything else in the world. It is a full-time, all-consuming obsession. It's a journey. It's like climbing a mountain. It takes a good 5 years just to earn a steady living in general. As you get yourself known around town, you pick up all the tricks of the trade, you network with other actors, and it won't be worth it if you were to pursue it like any normal occupation. It's like joining the circus in a way. Without full dedication, there are so many people who would love to do even just bit parts in animated series and films. You've got to be established. You have to have a track record so that you can be trusted to come in and in an hour's time or 4 hours or whatever the session length is, deliver a polished, finished performance. And that just takes a whole lot of time and absorbing every aspect of the craft. It creates difficulties in personal life. It's impossible to really schedule things. When Hollywood calls, you've got to show up and you've got to devote your full attention to whatever's going on. Friends and family and close relations, they have to understand that, and very few people do. Oh, well, what are you doing? You're just talking. Like, no, it's if it were that easy, anyone could do it.
Yeah.
You've got to have real passion and dedication. Talent is only part of it, because you develop talent if you are fully determined. It's an all-consuming occupation, and it's all a crapshoot. You can never know what's going to happen.
And there you go. That is voice actor Corey Burton.